Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to session two of how to make yourself or how to show that you can solve problems to employers. That way you can get hired and get the dream job that you always wanted. So today we are going over LinkedIn. So if you want to look at resume stuff and portfolios, you can check out our last session we did last week. It's linked on the Prentice YouTube channel. So check that out if you want those tips. But today we're going to focus on LinkedIn, which obviously is a big social network, LinkedIn professional network that everyone has to use in their job search these days. So it's a huge piece of the whole, job search. So let's make sure that we do it correctly. So today we're going to go through a few different things. But before we do, I want to just make sure that everyone knows who am I, why am I qualified. So I'm Rod, and I'm founder and CEO here at Apprentice. Apprentice, we want to make sure that the job search is fair, fast, and fun for every single person. So anybody can get their dream job. That's the main thing. But mainly, we built our community and job search software for schools, and we're starting a little bit of a community ourselves. So we'll tell you about that later. So I've been working in the boot camp and recruiting space for 3 years, and I've helped hundreds of people with their job search. And for me, I always have personal connection to the job search because I was the last in my graduating class in college to get hired. So I know it's tough. There's all these unwritten rules, and it sucks. So that's why I want to make it funner and easier. All right, so let's go into LinkedIn. Okay, so LinkedIn these days is one of the first things that hiring managers will check when they want to know more about you. So 64% of hiring managers check your LinkedIn when hiring. That means when you apply to a job, you have your LinkedIn resume up top. People are going to click on it and go to see what you are. Some people don't even read your resume; they just want to go straight to LinkedIn. So make sure that your LinkedIn is good, and that's what we're going to learn about today: is how to do that. So looking at Google also. So someone who wants to find out anything about you, they're going to Google you, and LinkedIn, thanks to great SEO, is the first result. So that makes it the number one place for you to describe yourself, show your value, and tell people why you are right for their job. So today, what we're going to do is first we're going to go through the profile because that's obviously at the core, and we want to break down each part of profile to figure out how can we build a profile that shows that we are valuable. Then after that, we're going to talk about how to use LinkedIn overall, so how to use posting to your advantage, and then we'll talk about DMs and how you can basically skip the line and not wait for the old application process. And then at the end, depending on how much time we have, we will be roasting some real profiles. So people that shared their links and said, hey, tell me what to do better. So thank you for all those people. And one thing to always keep in mind with this is, this presentation, I'm going to give you stuff that is going to help you increase your odds of getting hired. Yes, people in the past have been hired without doing any of this, but by doing this, you're going to give yourself the best odds to get hired. And that's always what you want to be doing when you are on your job search. Okay. So let's go to first thing. So for today, what I'm using is a sample profile. So I was scrolling LinkedIn today. I saw, hey, this person, Casey, just posted that they got hired for their job. So congrats to them. And when I went to their profile, they had a pretty good profile. So I wanted to use them as an example to break down each part. So if you want to open up the link for yourself, I'm going to post this link in the comments and you can check that out and open it if you want. But let's get to it. So, first part of a profile is your picture. So, taking a profile picture these days is really, really easy. It's 2022. People have portrait mode on Apple. I'm not sure what it's called on Android, but I'm 100% sure they have that. So, you have the ability to take a picture. In terms of what your picture should look like, it should show that you take work seriously. So you don't have to be suit and tie. We're not in that era anymore. You can be in a t-shirt like this, just showing who you are, or you can be looks like Casey is wearing a suit. So up to you what you want to wear. But you want to make sure first that it's a dedicated pic. I see lots of people that they try to use a picture from this party or this event, or maybe something that maybe is like Instagram or Facebook, okay? But you want to make sure that it's a dedicated picture for your professional setting. Then, in terms of what to take picture of, you don't have to do the full body, just a headshot. just show a person who you are. And, even if you're not the best looking or you're kind of self-conscious about your image, it doesn't really matter to most hiring managers. The biggest thing is that by having a picture, it helps them connect you to the skills on your profile and your experience. So it creates a personal touch that will help people connect to you. And also, if you ever have questions about anything I'm saying, post them in the chat. Happy to answer. So after profile picture, you see this in the background is the banner. So the banner is good real estate for you to again sell yourself because when someone opens up your profile, the first thing they're going to see is this basically what we have a picture of right now. So this is the most important section. And with a banner, if since it takes up 50% of that, it's 50% of the most important thing on the profile. With a banner, so there's a few different things you can do. So if you are for example, let's say an engineer, just because Casey's an engineer, you could create a custom banner in Canva. So there's plenty of templates where you can, add your name, add some skills, what you are, your specialization, and then even add some colors or other stuff that shows your personality. So that's, a good route. But if you don't want to customize it, you're scared of your design skills, no problem. You can do something like what Casey did. Since Casey is a developer, right when we open up his profile, we see right off the bat there's code. So it's career oriented, makes it really easy for people to associate him with what he does. And as they always say, images are processed 60,000 times faster than text. So the faster someone can know what you are and what you do, that's the best. And just in case this wasn't obvious, don't leave it blank. If it's blank, it changes the theme color of your LinkedIn as well. So you want to make sure that you have a good picture, it's not blank, and you have that personality and use it to your maximum advantage. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jen. I have not been sharing this whole time, and I am a put. So 1 second. Um, okay. So let me share this. And now I am going to go back. Okay, so let me go back to this first and foremost. So thank you, Janet, for letting me know. But yes, so Casey this is the person I've been talking about. So we look first at the profile picture, which I was mentioning before, and you see they're wearing a suit, shirt, nice little blurred background, so it's portrait mode. So that's what you want this to look like, and stuff we talked about a second ago. Then here's the banner that I was talking about. So if you didn't have the link open, then that's what you can see. And now the section that we're on is the headline. So the headline is very important real estate too. So with your headline, the first thing you want to see here is we usually have 68 characters to sell. And what I mean by that is if you comment or you make a post, usually it's only going to show those first 68 to 70 characters, depending on the characters themselves. And the rest is going to be cut off. So whatever you do with those first 68 characters are really important because that's what most people will see, since not everyone is going to go to your profile. So with your headline, what you want to do is show personality. So right now, Casey doesn't have the best headline because just this full stack developer and then some skills, but it doesn't show who he is. Why is he valuable? Why should someone talk to him? What makes him different from everyone else? And for a recruiter or hiring manager, you know, I look at hundreds of people that are job searching every week, and lots of them have the exact same format. So people start blending together, especially when you're looking through all these different profiles. You're going to get forgotten if you just have the same kind of headline as everyone else. So what you want to do is first show your personality, get something a little bit quirky, and then make sure you show up in research whenever someone's like looking for a specific position. You want to include that position name and then some skills. So let's look at an example. So over here, I put for a front end developer, they can say, I turn designs into pixel perfect code. And then you have this little bar, which I don't know the name of it, honestly. Then front end developer, which is a position, and then another of those bars, and then list the skills. So with this one, people are going to see, okay, I turn designs to the pixel perfect code. Employers want pixel perfect code for a front end developer. So they're going to be interested. And then you're going to stand out. And then in addition, if they're searching for front-end developer or React or HTML or JavaScript, you're going to show up in those results. So this is the best of both worlds. They give you another example for a customer service manager. So they say, I help your customers love you even more. What business owner doesn't want their customers to love them? That's how you make more money. And that's the type of person you want interacting with your customers. So we have that customer service manager and then people person to just show that, hey, you're always a people, you can please them, you know what they need to make them love a product. All right. And then from here, so the headline is basically your hook. So if you know in a story, usually there's like some sort of crazy stat, crazy event, and it hooks you onto a story to make you want to read more. So that's what the headline is. And then the story itself is going to be your about section. So a lot of people in their about section, they say, hey, I'm looking for a job. I'm passionate, problem solver, using a bunch of generic buzzwords that you know I think a lot of career centers might say you should use, but when you do that, you're basically saying nothing to a hiring manager. So use your about section to tell your unique story. Whoever you are, you have unique skills, unique perspective, something that's going to be valuable. And with the about section, this is your way to tell them that way. So for Casey, what they said over here is, "Hey, I'm a gamer. Video games, board games, doesn't matter. You name it. I love it." So you can see, okay, this person's a gamer. Really cool. If your hiring manager is a gamer, they'll be able to connect to you about that. Hey, I would love to work with a gamer. And one thing that people are really afraid of usually is writing something in their about section that's gonna, disqualify them from something. But listen, getting disqualified from one opportunity is great because it means that you're going to be qualified for another opportunity. People don't want someone that is an overall generalist, especially in the early part of the career. Later on, once you have a bunch of skills, you can be a generalist. But early on, you want to focus and be specifically you, uniquely you, and that's where you express this in the about section. So with your story, stuff you can talk about are in this case, childhood, hobbies, professional career. In terms of value, you can talk about some of the highlights. So obviously the experience section, which we'll get to in a second, that's where you express most of what you've done in your professional career. But here you want to say like, yeah, I led this process for this company that helped them get $1 million in funding. That's just an example. But talk about some of those initial highlights and then that's a way to show your personality. And don't be afraid to talk about hobbies. Humans are going to hire humans. So that's what you want to do. Show that you're human, show who you are as a unique human. And then from there, maybe at the end, you want to include some keywords so you show up even more. And then even some contact information. So your email, um, maybe a link to your resume, a Calendly if you use one of those. So anything they can use to get more information about you. So the next place we go to is post. So with post, this is something that a lot of people are scared to do. Most people on LinkedIn and other networks are lurkers, which basically means that they scroll, 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 just look at posts, don't do anything, and ever share anything themselves. I think they said like 1% of people on social networks share posts, which is very, very low, which means, again, you have a higher chance of standing out. So with posts, basically you have a free shot on goal for an employer to discover you every single time that you share something into this feed. So make sure to take advantage of this. And with posts also, so you see first we have our featured section. So featured section is going to be posts as well as any links you have. So if you have a project, a portfolio, maybe a particular post that did well or showed insight into who you are, make sure you put that in featured because featured is basically a quick summary of stuff that people can check out if they want to know more about you. So use that to your advantage. And then in terms of like other posts, so when you create a post, other people get scared because they're like, what if I post and no one engages? What will happen then? The answer is nothing. You lose nothing if no one likes it, but you have infinite to gain because if the right person sees your post, then you might get that opportunity that you need to land the job that you want. And with posts, so stuff to post about, you can do stuff like you talk about your learning journey. What are you doing this week to learn? What are you doing this week to improve? How has your journey shaped you as a person? Because posts are supposed to show, a little bit more about personality, like who you are and why you're valuable. So if you can express that, then employers will look at that and say, hey, let me reach out to this person. Okay, so don't be afraid to post. And another thing on this is also you might see posts that say, like recruiters suck or I just need a chance. And I'm telling you, do not post one of those posts. You know, you might get to a desperate point. Maybe it's 6 months, a year on your job search, and you're like, hey, someone please take a chance on me. But it's not going to help you out. It's just going to make you seem desperate. And in this case, what we want to do is make you valuable for an employer. So with a post, you want to just keep posting what you're doing, that you're making progress, and showing your value that you can bring. And remember, don't beg. And when you don't ask, that's when people come to you. Looking at experience and education. So one thing that I didn't like in Casey's profile is that he put his schooling and experience. So someone that has used LinkedIn Recruiter extensively, I'll tell you this is a big no-no, and it's really annoying for recruiters that I've talked to. So whatever experience you have, keep it in experience, but any education, put it in education. There's two sections for a reason, and it throws off recruiters in terms of their whole search when you do like this. So with experience themselves, looking at the bullets, you want to do similar stuff to your resume. Using action verbs, talking about um, built, collaborated, communicated, past tense action verbs, and then again, talk about value. So if you can use numbers, that's amazing. People love to look at numbers and it helps them quickly understand the impact that you can bring. So, like 16% revenue gain or scaled a program from 1 to 10,000 people. Stuff like that is what's going to really grab someone's attention and show that you can deliver. Then, let's see. So Tiffany has a question. Should experience be in paragraph form of bullets? I would say bullets are more easily scannable. So if someone's trying to look at your information quickly, then bullets are usually better. In this case, the way they did Springboard, even though this should be in the education portion, I think they actually did it properly because it says it kind of tells a story like, okay, I did 700 plus hours, I mastered skills on the front end and did this. But in most cases, again, bullet points. All right, and then in terms of organizing it, so you want to make sure that you have all your relevant experience. So lots of people think they have to put every single thing on their LinkedIn, and you don't. So if you only worked at this like irrelevant job for a few months, don't include it. Include stuff that's relevant to the position that you're going for today, and stuff that's been significant in your life and shows that you've done whatever needs to be done in the next job. Also for skills, so I'll talk about the next part, but basically skills are another place where you show experience. So it's at the bottom, and you can add different things like Microsoft Word, programming language, customer service, whatever it might be. So those definitely add as many as are applicable to you, but don't worry about endorsements. So it used to be like a big thing 5, 10 years ago where everyone was like, yeah, endorse for endorsement, get me high. People want to have like hundreds of endorsements for a skill and would focus a lot of energy on that. Don't worry about it. As long as you have the skill on your profile, you will show up in the recruiter's results when they're using LinkedIn Recruiter. So that's all that matters. What you want to focus on though is testimonials. Testimonials are, used in everyday life. So when you go to pick a restaurant, what are you looking at? Google reviews, Yelp, all those things to decide. Then Amazon, same thing. So if something doesn't have good reviews, you're not going to buy it. Recruiters are just like those consumers, and they're just like you. So they want to see, okay, what can this person do? Is anyone else endorsing them and saying that they can deliver value? So make sure that you try to get a testimonial from whoever it might be. Um, the best people obviously are managers, but in most cases, or not in most cases, but some cases, your manager might not be the best for that, whether it's like a bad situation or not a relationship. So try to find like others that are just, something in a professional life. So someone you might have worked with on a volunteer project, or someone you worked with on a project maybe in a boot camp. So look for those type of people to describe your best qualities, and that's going to help you with getting noticed. Okay, so that sums up our profile stuff. So if you have questions on any of that, write in the chat. But what I'll do is I'll go into the next section. And with this brand new profile you're about to have, after applying all these edits at the end of this week, you're going to have to go get people's attention too. So yes, if people are just searching, you will show up if you do everything correctly. But again, you want to increase your shots on base, which means that you want to get as many opportunities to get seen by someone that can connect you to your next opportunity. So the way you do that is first by engaging with posts. So I mentioned before, don't be a lurker. You want to like posts, you want to comment on posts, you want to react to them, and then get your name out there. Because one, people will see your name in the likes or the comments. So that's like your first shot on base. But when you do engage a post, you want to also build relationships. So by sharing your thoughts, so if someone posts something like a win, a tip, something that was it's helpful, share your thoughts on it, get them involved in discussion, and then again, this is going to show your personality. It's going to make sure that you start building a relationship with that person, because basically, it's like a subconscious thing. If you engage in my content, I want to engage in your content. I want to support you too because you're supporting me. So the more people you start doing that with, the more that your post will be enhanced, and the more likely again that you get access to their network. So they're basically giving you an in. And then for my note at the bottom. So what a lot of people do, there's a hiring manager and they say, hey, I'm hiring for this role. Here's the link. Please apply here. A lot of people will just comment interested. Now, imagine you're the hiring manager. You're, looking for talent, and then you have this job. You provide instructions on exactly what to do, and someone commented interested, as if you, the hiring manager, is supposed to reach out to them. So commenting interested is only going to turn off a hiring manager. Don't do that. Instead, what you're going to want to do for those type of posts, apply, just like they said to. And then from there, you're going to want to go to cold DMs. Cold DMs are called cold because one, you don't have a warm relationship, which means that you don't know them or you didn't get an introduction to them. And people might be like, yeah, like, if I don't know them, like, why would I send them a message? Why would they answer me? But don't think like that. Cold DMs actually help hiring managers when done correctly. So the cold DM, what you're going to be able to do is one, skip the line, because instead of going through the whole application process with resumes and getting lost in hundreds, if not thousands of resumes for some positions, with this you automatically get to the top of the stack of resumes basically. So it lets you stand out from the rest, again, as long as you do it correctly. So in terms of cold DMs, what you don't want to do is state the obvious first. So basically, a lot of people just say, hey, I just applied for the role, connecting here. You're wasting opportunity there because by just saying the obvious, which is that you applied, then you're not really doing much for the hiring manager. They're like, okay, so I guess there's a person that applied. Others is making it about you. Some people send cold DMs and right off the bat ask for favors. And think about it. If someone random is just asking you for favors when you're busy, you have all your own worries. Why would you help them? Yes, there's people that want to do stuff out of the good of their heart. They hold sessions, they want to help you with their career. But most people are just, they're really busy with their own stuff. So make it about them and what you can help them out with. And then the third part, which goes into the whole session that we're talking about, don't be desperate. If you're desperate and say, "Hey, please, give me opportunity," or something like that, that's not going to help further the conversation. And then they might get turned off. People will always want what they can't have. So make it about showing your own value. So in most cold DMs, what you're going to be doing, since LinkedIn Premium, that with that you get InMail, and that's a whole different thing, and you have unlimited text. Both connection requests, you have 300 characters to work with. So 300 characters is pretty short. So that's why you have to be really focused. But a few ways to get their attention are: one, mention something that they want to answer. So ask them a question about something that their team is working on, that their company is working on, that you notice from their about section that they're interested in, or maybe their personal website. And if you do that research, you build that personal relationship, and usually people hire who they want to, people hire who they think they'll get along with. So that's going to help you out there. Other ways to get their attention are also, mentioning something that isn't easily available about a company or a role. So, for example, with the big companies like Google, Apple, Facebook, yes, like there's all this news about them, and anyone can find out pretty much anything about them. But if you can find something unique about their team that only they are going to be interested in for that hiring manager, then you could stand out. And then other thing is giving a preview of your value. So what I mean by that is, say the role is for, let's say, I'm just gonna say a construction worker. So for the preview of your value, you can mention, "Hey, in my last company, we noticed that if you do this construction this way, that it actually leads to 20% more cost per build. Have you ever worked with that type of problem in the past?" And if you ask that question, one, you're showing expertise. Two, you're showing that you can provide value for a company before you're even an employee. And if you can provide value before you're employee, you get the hiring manager's brain spinning, and they're like, wow, how valuable can this person be if they're on our team? So that's a few ways. So let's look at an example connection request. So this is for hiring manager named Yash at Google. So I said, "Hey Yash, just applied to the junior developer role on your team." So let him know, who I am. Two, sick that you're the first at Google to be going into virtual reality, because they're a virtual reality team. So you give them a little of a compliment, kind of flattering them. That way they want to read a little bit more. Then you ask a question, something that they want to answer. So what do you think will get higher adoption first, businesses or consumers? And it's the thought-provoking question because it's about the whole industry and something this team is probably working on. And then you say, I got a couple ideas, but would love to hear a pro from a pro like you." So again, flattering, asking the questions, but also showing that you have potential value that they might want to get out of you. So this is something I wrote, in 30 seconds. But try to apply this kind of formula when you're writing your own DMs. One second, got a question from Mary. So, what if you're trying to show you're providing value, but for a role you haven't done before? Good question, because a lot of people, especially probably watching this, are career changers. You haven't done something in that field before and you're trying to do something. So Mary, could you, or I guess you said switching from retail into tech. Okay, so from retail into tech, what do you have to do in retail? You have to work with people, you have to understand their problems and connect them to the right product. So by breaking down, those individual skills that made you successful in retail, take into tech. So you got to say, hey, like with by being in retail, I'm familiar with all the best products and how to help connect people to the best thing that's valuable for them. So that's going to help me build great software that people love. So that's one way. Another thing in terms of providing value when you don't have experience is projects. But with the projects, you want to make sure that they are like business problems and focus on value first. So for an engineer specifically, a lot of people like to build pet projects, and that's stuff that maybe they're interested in, but what they actually built has no real world value. Just something that, hey, like I built a Pokemon themed note taker. But if it doesn't really help solve a problem, then for a company, they can be like, hey, like this person can build stuff, but they can't really build stuff that's valuable. So focus on projects that actually have business value and can solve real world problems. And that's going to show business that you can do it. All right. So now what we're going to do is look at some LinkedIn's that people have sent in. So I haven't looked at these yet. So I'm going to look at Tiffany. All right. So Tiffany, let's see. First, we'll go through the order of everything we basically broke down today. So first picture. So looks like a professional picture on, flat background. Um, I'm not sure if LinkedIn is reducing the quality or not, but if it is not the highest quality, then maybe you can improve that. Otherwise, you know, pretty good there. Then the banner over here. So I would guess you're from New York, but as a business owner, what does being from New York tell me? Maybe if I'm hiring in your city, like maybe that'll help me a little bit, but we want to know what can you do specifically that's going to help me solve problems. So your banner right now just tells me you're a New Yorker. So change that. Looking at your headline, I see people operations, 10 plus years of people experience, people and culture. And honestly, I like that. So there's a couple of pointers. The first, I'll point to positive. So one, saying 10 plus years of people experience. So that's something that someone doesn't even have to open your profile for. And boom, they can see that you have this experience that they probably need, especially if you're trying to get a job in people operations still. So good on you for that. What I would say though is, like tech enthusiasts, maybe that shouldn't be in there. And then in terms of people operations, like what do you do specifically and what role would you want specifically? Those are two things I don't see here. Like people ops slash HR, huge field. Maybe it's someone that is managing HR processes. Maybe it's someone that is helping to build the culture through like events. There's plenty of things. So be specific so someone knows what you're about. Let's look at about. So one thing that people do I see is writing in the third person. So basically either saying, like in this case, like Tiffany is this, or writing this tone where it says versatile human resources professional, but talk like a human. Basically, what you want to do in copywriting, which is writing that sells, is write like a human and like you're talking to someone else. So the basic rule for that is if you wouldn't say it to someone like your friend, then don't write it. So instead of versatile human resources professional with 14 years of experience, I would be like, hey, I'm Tiffany. Um, I've been working in people management for a while because I love all the different people that you get to interact with and the different ways to make them most successful. So that's just an example. And then she could tell her stories about everything else she's done. So that'd be great. And then specialties. So listening skills at the end is something I mentioned you could do. So that's a good way to show up in search results because the search bar is going to scan your profiles to figure out like if you match some stuff. Looking at activity, so no featured section, which usually isn't good. But if we just look at the post real quick, I see the last post was 2 years ago, and all it was a share of someone else's post. So two things here. One, if the last post is 2 years ago, I might think that you haven't been using LinkedIn for 2 years and like you just been lurking, and maybe this open to work banner is old. So posting it also lets someone know that you're active on the platform, you're still actively searching, or that you're alive because people want to know you're active and a real person. And then two, you don't want to just be sharing someone else's post. So I have a few connections where all they do is just share out those people's posts. But sharing someone's post doesn't give anybody any insight into who you are. And that's what posts are most valuable for. So make sure to write your own post. You don't have to be the best writer. You can, get better over time. but just put it out there. You know, nothing to lose. Then in terms of education, so I see this person was an international English teacher. They have bullets, so that's good, and they have past tense, the verbs and everything. One thing a manager might be looking at here is where the gap is. So I see like July 2020, and then now we're in March 2022. So I'd be looking at education, which looks like she was doing an MBA. So great. And with the MBA, so since she's doing education, there is that gap. That's somewhere where I'll probably address that in the about section to say, hey, went to MBA because I want to do so and so. To show them why you're taking the steps in your career, to show them how you are, imagining your growth in your career and how it's going to help with them. Good for having licenses and certifications. So that's something I didn't talk about, but obviously great. And same thing with volunteering. It only, boosts who you are. Looks like they have skills and plenty of endorsements. So overall, pretty good profile. Just, some different gaps here that we can work on. So let's go to Tamir. All right, so Tamir is a identity and access management engineer. So good, just putting his stuff there, and it looks like he's doing the same thing as Tiffany. He put, the Golden Gate Bridge in the background because I'm guessing, or I guess he's from Oakland, but while it looks cool, it looks nice on your profile. It doesn't really, it's not furthering your picture, your value, and you don't want to waste that real estate. So make sure to focus on that. About section. So one thing I see already is some of those buzzwords I mentioned. So ambitious, tenacious, strong-minded, multifaceted. So these words that they teach us that sound nice in school, again, not that great. They kind of blend in. So you want to make sure that you're getting unique with that. And let me just pause there 1 second. I see a couple questions. Um, oh, never mind. Okay, so we see Ava. So should I put a certification from a boot camp above my master's degree in the education section? Well, it organizes itself automatically in terms of the date. So yeah, you want to do that, and especially since that's going to be the most valuable. So if your master's degree is, let's say, in psychology and your boot camp was in engineering, what's most relevant to what role you want to get next? That's engineering. So boot camp first, and then master's degree, and then they can be like, okay, so they can build software, but then they also are really knowledgeable about the psychology. So they're going to build software that people love subconsciously. That's just a guess. Continue with Tamir. So he's doing great here because, with the featured, what I see right off the bat is one, he made a cheat sheet, which is cool. So that's gonna help people in his industry. He has these certifications. He got this Europe plaque. So right off over here, I'm gonna see he's active, which is great. And something that people want to see. So great job on this, Tamir. I don't even have to check activity just because I can see that he has posts already. So that's good. Then founder and CEO. So one thing I would say here is if if a lot of people have side hustles, so they have like their LLCs. So just try to mention somewhere that it's a part-time thing, especially for you looking for a full-time role. That way, people know it's not going to take away. So, like me, for example, I'm one in the minority of managers that likes my employees to have part-time hustles, but a lot of companies are still against it because they're going to think, hey, this person is not going to be focused at work, or maybe they're just trying to get big and then they're going to quit, and I'm going to lose all that time I spend training them. So make sure to separate this out if you can, and then if you do that properly, then being a founder is going to help out. Over here, so I mentioned, with paragraphs and bullets, like when a paragraph is this long, definitely don't want to have a giant paragraph because it's going to be really hard to find the information you need. So I would break this down, a few bullet points, make each bullet point focus on a specific aspect of a skill that you have that helps you run the company. And that's going to help with standing out, which looks like, you did that in this internship over here. So basically convert this into this. Yeah, so looking good over there. Great education and experience. Great, great certifications. And, just if you can testimonial also, that'd be great. So overall, nice profile to me. All right, so next we have William Sharkus. Okay, so one, so in this case, we have a picture that I can see as a selfie just because right off the bat, I see the reflection of the phone. So, what I would do is make sure you take a little bit of a better picture. It could just be outside, it could be across a flat background, but to have someone else do it should be 2 seconds. You don't have to do anything fancy, and to make it look a lot more professional. And then with the banner, so the banner kind of similar thing. So yes, I can connect the tech a little bit right off the bat, but it looks like a pretty generic background. So what I would say is update that to something a little bit more unique. Then looking at the headline. So what the headline is doing right now is confusing me as a viewer. So I see obviously UX designer, UX researcher, UI designer, sales rep, marketing, SEO, and I'm just like, what does this person do? So I mentioned before, you want to be for someone, not for everyone, because by that you're going to be qualifying yourself for the right role. If but like seeing someone that has all these keywords, I'm just like maybe they're testing out different waters, trying different skills, and just going to confuse me. So I say focus that headline on one thing that you want to do, whether it's UX design or what was it, marketing, so whatever it might be, and then that way people can know if you're the right fit for the role. Let's see. So looking first at the activity, so I see it hasn't posted lately. So seeing that notification right off the bat, I would see, okay, maybe this person is not active on LinkedIn. They're not sharing much about themselves. I can't really see more about William if I am interested in William. So make sure, William, that you start posting and sharing a little bit more about yourself. What are you learning? That way people can have a little bit insight into how you work. And then, for about, so proactive, research driven, those are the words we kind of saying before to do, but we do have skills and tools here. So that's great. So I know we mentioned before, skills definitely include, and school skills and tools might be separate or together depending on what you're doing. But just make sure to include both of them because each of those are going to be keywords that people might be looking for. So that part is good that he has a bunch of those. Let's see. I am an empathic and friendly person who is discovering his passion in this fascinating field. Um, like for this, it's kind of like it sounds like a bunch of words, but I'm not getting a sense of who William is. So William should dive deeper into hobbies. What got you into UX in terms of like a concrete example? What were you doing before? Kind of skill you bringing into this one, and then from there, just show who is William and why unique. Okay, associate development program. Yeah, so no information about that. So we definitely want to get some information for each of these experiences because associate development program, especially with all these keywords, can mean anything. So let's get a little bit more detail. Then I see volunteering. So volunteering is good. Even graphic design if that's where you're trying to go towards. So that's something that I see you wrote a few things about. I would write even a little bit more because this is basically experience. So you take advantage of the volunteering when it's in the field you want to go into. I see a few skills, but could be more. Ah, so one thing that William is doing well is he has some testimonials. So remember, testimonials are I say one testimonial is worth more than actually a whole about section, except that to get to the testimonial section, I'd want to see an about. So basically, you need to have the top stuff to get people to the bottom stuff. But in terms of testimonials, so they say you're one of the most determined designers I had the pleasure of mentoring. So now I'm going to be like, okay, so he's a designer. He's trying to go into this field. Um, it's a senior UX strategist, and a co-founder was endorsing him. So that must mean he's pretty good. Then, for Sarah Goodfellow, also she said you're a great designer, great work with you on projects. So this is going to convince me a lot, but again, only if I get to that section. So great that you have that. And if you can get testimonials like William, then make sure you can. I mean, you get them and you put them on this week. Then interests. So, and this one has more interest than usual. So influencers, you see kind of the tech, career, job search. So great stuff there. Yeah, hopefully that helps, William. Let's go to Marquita next. All right, so Marquita. So for the picture, I am going to guess that this was cropped out of something else. So what that means is basically like it looks like you had another picture and then you just remove the background. And then I can see also that it's small, so it doesn't show up as like the best quality on LinkedIn. So, get a professional picture taken outside. Could be even at a family event. You go to a family event at the park. Someone has an iPhone. Tell them to take a picture of you there, smiling in the sun, great lighting there, and that's going to be even better than this. So, really easy way to do that. Then looking at the background. So for the background, again, this is something that looks nice, but it doesn't tell me much. I can see that you work and stuff. Um, but and looking at your headline, I see that you're a blogger, you edit content. So maybe just put stuff about writing, but pens, ink, or make that custom banner that we mentioned before. So you can do that in Canva and tell a bit more about the services you do. In your case, I think the Canva custom design one's probably going to be best. But looking at the headline, so one thing is specifically in marketing and design. So when you're looking at a profile or a resume, for example, I'm going to be looking for your marketing and design skills in those materials. So when she says, she's a blogger, she's editing content, digital marketing, and she's not optimizing her profile, it's going to make me hesitant to trust her to optimize my business. So you want to pay special attention when the skill that you have is the skill that you could be applying to your own profile. So for Marquita, for blogger, I would maybe put a highlight of a blog that you've done in the past. So maybe wrote a guide on shoes that got 100,000 views. So something like that to show a specific tip, but also showing like what you can do, especially on the blogging side. And then 86 connections. So with connections, try to get those up just above 500 because once it's past 500, people can't see the number. But I've seen that they just see that you're active, you're connecting to people, and you're social. So it's a little thing. And in terms of getting connections, it might take a little bit of a while. So you don't flood your feed with kind of irrelevant people. But make sure that that's also a focus is to get your connections up just past 500. Once you pass that, make sure you're focused on quality of connections over quantity. Looking at about. So when I mentioned before, she's a blogger. I'm expecting a nice story over here about who she is, but she kind of like wasted the space here. I feel like with a blogger specifically, she could have mentioned, you know, her if she says energetic, I want to see some energy, but thought through the writing, which goes to show don't tell. So if I say I'm energetic, that's one thing. If I have an energetic style of writing and I give you energy while you read it, then that person is feeling what you want to get across in the first place. So focus on that. In terms of engagements, I see that you are commenting. So at least that's something, versus nothing. But in terms of comments, so let's see. I see likes. I see. I guess you can't look at comments specifically. But in terms of posts, so last thing I see is here. You looks like you're sharing someone else's stuff. Again, get active. People want to see that you're alive and breathing. Who are you? And if you do that, then they might know if they actually want to talk to you. Okay, let's look what else we got. Okay, so you are a blogger, a freelance blogger, a home doc. Okay, great. You have experience in this field, so that's amazing. What you want to do is talk about what you're doing though. So this, when I see like no writing, it's like, is that really the position? Um, are they actually doing stuff? Like, to talk about it. When you have experience, you're in a position of power already because you've done this job that people need you to do for them in the future. So talk about it, show what kind of value you've delivered in the past, and then that way they know, hey, I got to talk to Marquita. I think the education overall is a good because education obviously you have to express ideas in a simple format. So showing those is great. I would just try to express that value. So I know I mentioned about career changes before. So in this case, she was a teacher. I would talk about how I wrote lesson plans to be digestible by whatever age it might have been. And then that's gonna be like, okay, so she can kind of adapt her writing for any sort of audience, whether they're old, young, look like that, look like this, wherever kind of they are. And that's gonna be really good to show that she's versatile in her writing. So make sure to leverage your past experience. Then in skills, so skills, make sure that your skills are matching up with the role you want to go for. So I see her top skill here is sales, and maybe she does have, writing and blogging listed in there, but those first top three, that's what people are going to see right off the bat. So I would want to see um, creative writing, uh, marketing, some stuff like that to show like that's what she's focused on. For projects, I honestly did not even know there was a project section like this for LinkedIn. But if you do have projects, make sure to put that in the featured section. That way it's going to be more prominent and that's going to show an actual proof of your work. So don't wait till someone gets down there, put it all up there. Then yeah, other thing would be testimonials. So as a freelance blogger, you're going to want to see testimonials from customers first and foremost. Whether it's on here or if you link like a portfolio up top in the featured, then that's something you want to do. But thanks for sending in your LinkedIn Rakita. And we have one more LinkedIn to view. Okay, so Kevin, let's see what Kevin got. All right. So I don't know what Peary Hotel is, but it gets a good laugh out of me right off the bat. So I'll tell you that. Looking at the picture, yeah, it looks a little bit blurry and not sure about the chair in the background. So you want to just have flat background. Like if I was against like a white wall, black wall outside with everything blurry, that's what you want to do. Like this this orange, and then this like black chair, which kind of blends in with the shirt. Looks like you weren't really taking your professional search seriously. So I'd work on that. Then in terms of full stack software engineer, so when I see this, I would say, okay, you're a full stack engineer. Where? So it looks like at Infosys, you're a software engineer. So great, you have experience in the field that you're trying to get a job in. So you're doing great there. Um, hmm. So wait. Oh, this is March 2021 that ended. Okay, since you're an engineer, you want to be showing that you can build products and showing what your skills are. So I'm not sure if this gap in employment was intentional or not, but no matter what, you want to be showing what you've been doing in that time. So projects, what have you been learning? What type of value have you been delivering? If we just take a break and you don't do anything, people will be concerned with great merit, obviously, because you're just going to take off time and kind of not work, then maybe obviously there's personal stuff that might be dealing with. So you don't have to put everything out there, but try to put a little bit about what you've been working on. And then, always learning, building new skills, and increasing the knowledge. I developed a passion for software engineering as it lets me build new things while continuously expanding the breadth of my technical expertise. The opportunities for learning and skills development in the software engineering tech field is limitless. So there, you're making the tech field the focus instead of yourself and telling more about your story. Where you coming from? Like, what kind of struggles have you overcome, Kevin? What have you learned? Let us know because people want to know that. And if you do that properly, if you communicate it properly, you got us. You're gonna hook in that hiring manager. Then for skills, so I would move skills all the way to the bottom. So, saying I'm open to discussing software engineering or web development opportunities, then you want to move this a little bit higher, but also the way you phrase it. So, saying I'm open to discussing software engineering, you can make it seem more limited availability by saying something like, um, let's see, if you're a freelancer, you could say, recently opened up spot for one project. Or if you're looking for a full time position, be like, looking for a change. I can't really think off the top of my head, but something that is showing, hey, like I'm at a desperate position, but I'm available. If you need someone that knows their stuff, I'm your guy. So kind of phrasing that is what you want to do. Uh, Looking at featured. So we I mentioned before we like the certificates and showing that you're learning, but I wouldn't make it only that because what some managers will see is like a lot of people they're scared of rejection, so they don't go for the roles. They don't take a risk. They don't do anything out of the comfort zone. So what they do is just they continuously learn. They stack up certifications, complete courses, and they never actually use those skills in the end. So by seeing all these formats, I mean all these certificates from Udacity, Cognizant, that yes, I see that you're a learner, but I don't see that you're a, applier. I don't see that you're applying those skills and providing value to companies or have done that in the past. So make sure that you post about something that you've done. Show up a little personality since I see no post lately. And then from there you'll be good. But if you've been a software engineer before, you can be a software engineer again, especially in a market like this where there's not a lot of software engineers. So just tell people why you why should they be hiring you? Looking at I think we mentioned this before. He has experience from Flatiron, University of Utah, Free Code Camp in here, but that should be in the education section. So put it back over there. Helps people categorize you correctly and figure out where the actual experience is. And then whatever job you did before you were an engineer, include that. It's probably going to be transferable skills. Like pretty much every position has transferable skills to your future career. So talk about those, whether it's customer service, whether it's using technology, just mention it. It can never hurt you. License certification, volunteering. So volunteering, it can go into more also, especially this coaching part. So that'd be great. Skills. So good thing that your top skills are tech stuff and projects. That's what I would put in featured. Show how you applied those skills. So move those up to the top, make those more prominent so people can figure that out much more quickly. Then only I think testimonials. So if you can get that, then do that. Okay, so let me close this out. And yeah, so we've been here 59 minutes, so we got 1 minute left. So only thing else I'll say from here is that I'm going to post a link to this. So let me get that link for you. So here is a link to the deck that we've been using and what you can do for further reading. So one, Danny Thompson, he's an engineer, great speaker, great presentations. I've done a couple podcasts with him as well. He has a LinkedIn series that people really love, and I know a lot of people have gotten hired directly from following those instructions. So check out Danny Thompson's LinkedIn series. It's linked in our apprentice community, which you can join at this link. So join apprentice community, which will give you a job tracker to track your job search, as well as to join our community where people are sharing stuff. And I'll be hosting office hours every Tuesday It's all linked in there. So if you want to get help with your resume, interviews, whatever it might be, join the community. Then for cold messages, so Josh Braun is a LinkedIn influencer, you could say. He does mostly sales, but he posts a lot of examples of emails that he uses to get sales and help businesses. And it's the same stuff that you can use to get a hiring manager's attention. So check out his profile, use his templates, and get the attention of people through LinkedIn, emails, whatever you have to do to get your shot. So yeah, so thank you everyone for taking time out of your Sunday for and learning about your LinkedIn. The fact that you're taking time out of your weekend to improve means you're gonna have a great week. I hope you have a lot of success in your job search. And if you have any other questions, feel free to comment in the community and I'll definitely help you out. Thank you and have a great day.